Welcome to Creamer Media's Resources Watch, a weekly video roundup of the events and people making and shaping the news in the mining industry. This week, the launch of the state mining company reopens divisions. Merafe is lobbying for a 2011 curb on raw chrome exports, and the repositioned Metorex is set for a Kinsenda copper boost. Mining Weekly Online was at the launch of South Africa's first state mining company, the African Exploration, Mining and Finance Corporation, where President Zuma said the government would no longer only be a regulator of the mining industry, but also a participator.
The role of the state cannot merely be confined to that of a regulator. The state must actively participate in the mining industry to ensure that our national interest is protected and advanced.
To say, whilst we want to make sure that we play on an equal field with all private sector players, it will also be wrong of us not to have a particular bias towards a state-owned mining company whose primary motive is to make sure that we've got energy resources. Because the very same private sector, for them to be able to invest in mining, they would need energy. So it is important that we do have a platform to assure the private sector for access to security of supply, whilst at the same time creating a platform where in other areas we can compete on equal playing fields.
The private sector just needs assurance that there's not going to be preferential treatment given to the state mining company.
Well, we're not going to give any preferential treatment to the state mining owning companies. It will compete in the open markets like all other companies. They apply, follow the due process. If they succeed, okay. If they don't, they've accepted that.
We are positioning ourselves to play a critical leading role in the beneficiations of our minerals. We will also be increasingly evaluating our entry options into the PGMs and base metal to diversify our portfolio. Mining will be conducted using a contracted truck and shovel fleet. During the initial years, the mine will initially produce 800,000 tons per year, and then steadily ramp up to about 1.68 million tons. But there's nothing that stops us to go as high as 3 million tons per annum, depending on the appetite from Eskom.
The black-controlled JSE-listed ferrochrome company Merafe Resources is lobbying for the South African government to impose restrictions on the export of raw chrome ore from South Africa this year.
Yeah, it's something that we have been campaigning for the last 2 to 3 years. We have spoken to DMR and we've spoken for Treasury. Now, in line with the President's statement about beneficiation, we need to find a balance between the major ferrochrome producers who could export ore and the independents. And as long as everyone comes to the party and they're not severely prejudiced, we believe we could find something that is amicable for everyone.
Repositioned and recapitalized JSE-listed copper cobalt miner Metorex is making rapid progress at its Kinsenda project in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which could potentially add another 20,000 tons a year of copper to the company's current output of 54,000 tons a year.
Key for us are the growth projects. We've made rapid advances at the Kinsenda project. We look to be taking that to the board sometime into April or May. We've already presented that to our partners in the DRC. They were all here last week, and it looks like it could be all systems go with this project. Obviously, we need board approval at the end of it, but that's another project which could potentially add another 20,000 tons of copper per annum onto our current annualized rate of around about 54,000 tons of copper.
For mining news as it breaks, stay logged on to miningweekly.com and register for our free daily newsletter.
For 30 years, Creamer Media's engineering news has delivered unmatched insight into South Africa's real economy. Subscribe now and go to engineeringnews.co.za for the real economy in real time. Engineering news, not just for engineers.